Hi, this is Peggy, and hope you're enjoying the day. Today's lesson is the carriage of the head affects the state of the musculature. It's actually from Moshe's Awareness Through Movement book, lesson number 7. This variation will bring you from lying on your belly, tilting knees, to come to side sit. So come to your mat, lay down, and enjoy the lesson. Hello today. Before we actually begin our Awareness Through Movement lesson, I want to give you a moment to accrue around you any support you might feel through the lesson might be beneficial. The lesson is going to take place on our bellies. So think about some pillows, towels you could roll up into soft rollers. Whatever you feel that you could accrue around you should you feel, I want some support. And then, once you've gotten that, please come to lie on the floor. Lie on your back and rest. Allow yourself to feel how your skeleton starts to sink into the floor. Or is there a sense that there's a lot of muscular work going on that's keeping your skeleton away from settling into the floor? And then turn your attention to a scan of your breathing. The gentle breathing. Maybe listen as the oxygen comes in through your nostrils, your mouth, following it where you fill, and then also following the exhalation. Just continue to listen quietly. Where you feel an expansion in your chest, is that available right now? In your belly? Just easy. No need to work hard at this. In fact, the easier and less you work to do and achieve, the more benefit you'll receive. Slowly, feel how you would transition yourself. Can you remember what it was like to be a baby? How you learned that process on your own. No one could teach you. How you moved from your back. Where did your head, your eyes go that began to transition you to a side, and then from your side to your belly? When you come to your belly, feel for yourself if a support is necessary. For some, they'd like to put a pillow or some towels rolled under their chest, under their bosom, or maybe along the vertical sternum and belly area. For some, maybe you want to have a little bit of a pillow for your head. Be careful when you use something at your face or your head that you're not jamming your neck. You're just supporting a little bit if it's the side of the head or the ear that needs a little bit of a lift. And now slowly, gently, bring your hands so that your right hand, the palm of the hand, rests on the floor in front of your face, and then the left hand, the palm face down on the back of the right hand, rests on top. Your elbows will be bent out to the side, and your elbows, your forearms, and certainly the right palm is resting on the floor. And then turn your head to the left as if you want to see your left elbow, and rest the right side of your face, wherever it's available, on the back of your left hand. Find where you can place it. And for some, if that's not so available, that you have to have your head a little bit more towards the forehead resting, then you do that. But notice if there can be the slightest bias, as if you were beginning to turn the head to the left. You do realize that throughout any lesson, at any moment, you can move out of the position and rest. Imagine, dream it. You don't have to actively do everything. Maybe even the skill of learning how to imagine something is going to serve each one of us so well. Slowly, have your legs spread comfortably, and then bend your knees so that your forelegs and feet are in the vertical, the feet towards the ceiling, and really sense and feel for yourself that the bend in your knees is ballpark 90 degrees, so that the forelegs, the lower legs, are in the vertical. And now slowly resting here, just bend your ankles so that in one direction the heels are getting taller towards the ceiling, and then you reverse it. It would be flexing the ankles, the toes would come closer to the shin, and then you're extending the ankles. That would be as if you're taking your toes a little bit more towards the ceiling. Go back and forth so that you can feel what was your bias. Were your ankles a little bit more extended? Were they in a neutral, whatever neutral is for you? Were they more flexed? You're looking for the absence of having to work or do, but just comparing the flexion of the ankles, the extending of them, and then just rest from that. Slowly, if you're not sure, you could actually put your left hand in a push-up position, and as you exhale, push into the left hand as if you wanted to look, are my legs where I think they are? You may not see them. Maybe you'd look underneath the bridge that the left hand in a push-up position makes. Maybe you'd look over your left shoulder. How would you assess seeing the legs? Are they relatively at 90 degrees? And then come back, just leave that all alone and rest again for a moment. You'll rest as often as you need. Listen to the directions. We set an intention and then we give the directions. Create the image and then move into the position. Place your hands in that same position if you've moved them. The right hand goes down in front of you toward your face, palm face down. Place the left hand on top and then turn your head towards the left and place your head on the back of your left hand. Bend your knees. Legs are spread comfortably, hip shoulder width apart. And now slowly feel that you could tilt each foot a little inward so that the inside edges of your feet could touch each other. They're creating a little type of a bridge. And now slowly, you're going to begin to slide your left foot down the inside edge of the right foreleg as you tilt both knees a little bit towards the right and then restore them into this new neutral position where the inside edges of your feet are touching. Listen to how you breathe. And when you're ready again, begin to tilt the knees to the right or tilt the feet, the forelegs to the right, and allow the left inside edge of your foot to slide along the inside edge of your right foreleg, and then return. And notice what your pelvis is doing. Notice what your left hip is doing. And then pause. Now, rest, and here's the question. Was your pelvis shifting? And therefore, was something through your spine shifting and moving? And your shoulder blades. Even your arms as you rested your head. So let's make it even simpler. Slowly, bend your knees again, place them into this position. And now slowly, gently, maybe as you exhale, it's the teeny weeniest little bit of a lift of your head off of your hand so that you could slide your head slowly, gently along the left forearm as if you wanted to move in the direction of your left elbow with your face. And then inhale as you bring your head back, set it down. The lifting of your head is just so small so that you're not really, you're sliding just slightly above your left arm. Now, every time you do this, can you simultaneously tilt your knees to the right? The left foot is still sliding on the inside edge of the right lower leg as you now are sliding your head in the direction looking as if to go to your left elbow. Inhale and bring everything back, your legs, your head. And you play that pattern several times, but make each one a curiosity, a question, how you're doing it. How do you breathe? could you slow it down, slower than you think you need? Slow motion. Don't strive to get anywhere. Listen for the quality of ease and comfort, and explore that many times. And then slowly rest. When you rest, maybe roll to your side or roll to your back again to rest, unless lying on your belly is really comfortable and you want to rest there. Listen to your breathing. And return to the position. On your belly, nice and easy. Turn your head, put your hands as you had. Turn your head to face the left. Notice if some portion of the right side of your face, cheek, ear, is resting a little easier, or if the tilting of your knees to the right in this pattern got easier. And come back to the movement again. Simultaneously, maybe as you rest, you inhale, and then simultaneously, as you are ready, you begin to tilt your knees to the right as the left foot is making contact, sliding down the right lower leg, as you also slide your face over to the left elbow. And then as you're ready to restore, come back, inhale, place the head down, settle. Do the breathing pattern again that allows you to initiate the movement as you exhale. And just play. Don't try to do your best or go as far as you can go. You're looking for the quality of ease that's reversible. Gentle and easy. And now this time, go ahead and as you are directing your head towards your left elbow, think that you're directing your chin or your nose downward in the direction of your left clavicle or shoulder blade or your left shoulder. Just, is that the direction you were going with your head? And for many it is. It's more comfortable. Just feel what that's like. Was that what you were doing? Or maybe you were doing this other one. When you come back, this time, really think that instead of directing downward, you want to take your chin or your nose towards the elbow. That's almost the sensation. Feel what happens in the back of your neck and the front of your throat, of like a chicken making a little pecking sensation. And do that one a few times. Was that what you were doing? And can you do either or? Every time simultaneously you exhale, you're tilting the knees to the right in this pattern as you're translating or sliding the face looking towards the left. Once, direct the head a little downward as if you wanted to nestle your chin or your nose in your shoulder, hiding it a little bit. And then the next time you do this, think that you want to create that little bit of a pecking moment where you're taking your chin or your nose more towards the left elbow. And then you come back. Place your head resting on your hands as you initially did, so that you're not going to slide your head now towards the left elbow. And just go back and tilt your knees both to the right. And feel. Did something change? Get easier? Did your pelvis shift its weight a little bit more to the right side? Maybe the left popped a little bit. Listen to the shape of your spine, your shoulder blades. Notice what might have changed. And then leave that all alone, roll to your back and rest. When you're ready, return to your belly. And this time, let's change this up. We're going to reverse. So now this time, it's your left hand that goes on the floor in front of your face, palm face down. Place your right hand on top of the left. Turn your head to face the right elbow. Some portion of the left side of your face, cheek, ear will rest on the back of your hands. And again, Some of us have neck issues. If you feel that that's not really available or comfortable and you need to reside a little bit more forehead resting on the back of your right hand, then you do that. Just think as if there's something out of the corner of your eye to the right you wanted to look at. That in and of itself will help bias the head in the direction we're going. Bend your knees, they're hip-shoulder width apart. Bring the inside edges of your feet together to touch. And then slowly, just keeping everything as it is, the only first thing you'll do here, gently, on an exhalation, tilt your knees to the left. This time, the right inside edge of your foot will be sliding along the inside edge of your left lower leg. Inhale as you restore the legs to this new neutral. And play that a few times, 3 times maybe, 4, just to feel what it's like. What are you doing here in this organization? Where is the weight moving in your pelvis? What is the shape of your spine? Is the movement trailing all the way up where you're aware of something between your shoulder blades? And then slowly, rest a moment or 2. Now this time, add in simultaneously, as you go to tilt the knees to the left, go ahead and direct sliding, translating your head, your face, to the right. The destination would be in the direction of the right elbow. You don't have to get there. Just several times now, creating the simultaneity of the movement of your head in one direction as your legs, lower legs and feet are tilting in the opposite direction. And then restore back to this new neutral. Do that a few times, feeling how it's different. What is the first way you started to notice you're doing it? Is your head and chin, nose going a little bit more downward in the direction of your right collarbone or clavicle or shoulder? Or was your head going more, the chin, the nose, towards the right elbow in that pecking sensation? Notice first what you prefer doing, what is easier for you. Do that a few times, and then do the other. If you noticed you were taking your face, your head a little bit as if you were folding it or hiding it into your right shoulder, do that, and then see if you can redirect your chin or your nose to aim gently towards the right elbow. That creates a little bit more of the pecking sensation. Feel the difference in the back of your neck to the front of your throat in these 2 different variations. And all the while, simultaneously tilting your legs to the left, allowing the right foot to slide along the inside edge of the left leg. And return. Many times, noticing what's different. And then slowly, of course resting when you need to, you come back to this position. You continue again, directing your face towards the right elbow as you tilt your legs to the left. You bring them back to the neutral, but as you bring them back to the neutral, reorganize your head to lift a little and turn. Place your head down on the back of your right hand, and then translate or slide your face towards your left elbow as you redirect your lower legs and feet to tilt to the right. Begin to alternate this pattern. Every time your head comes through the middle, your feet are back towards the ceiling, edges of the feet touching, inside edges of the feet touching. You do what you need to do. Do you want to lift your head, look up and turn the head? Or do you want to lift and hang the head down to look towards your hands and turn the head? Those are 2 other possibilities of how you turn your head from one side to the other. And as you do that, pay attention. Is something shifting in your shoulder blades and in your shoulders that helps you do this? Play with this a little longer. Be amused of how you're doing it. Use whatever supports you feel you need. And then leave this all alone and roll to your back and rest. Listen to your contact with the floor. Maybe gently roll your head a little from one side to the other. Feel what that's like. And then return to your belly. This time we're going to change the position of your arms a little bit. So can you imagine what a field goal looks like? Different sports games where there's a field goal, football for sure. You want to create that with your arms. But in order to do that so it's clearer, lie with your head turned to the left. Have your arms out to the side, long, coming out of the shoulder joints. They would be perpendicular to your torso. Bend your elbows so that your forearms and hands are now going to be at a 90-degree angle on the floor. The palms of both hands are resting on the floor. They're sort of going to frame your head. That's the field goal I'm talking about. But you can think of a frame of your head. And if it's not totally comfortable in this position, modify it. Do what you need to do. And now very slowly and gently, bend your knees. They're hip shoulder width apart first. Bring the soles of your feet together. And just from there, allow your pelvis to move. Slowly, maybe on an exhalation, you lift your head. Turn your head through the middle to go to the right. Lower your head back down. When you're ready to turn your head again, feel how you coordinate your breathing. Feel, do you push a little bit into your hands, forearms, and elbows? Is there a shift of weight in your shoulder girdle, in your pelvic bowl that shifts? Bring your head to turn towards the middle ground, and then turn your head to the left and lay it back down on the floor. Feel that it's a whole body experience of shifting weight, not just trying to do it through your neck. Your neck are the most delicate vertebra of all. Allow the whole spine through the shoulder girdle area, the whole thoracic spine, down into your lower back, your pelvic bowl, to help shift. Shift the weight to the opposite side you're going to turn your head to. Do that a few times, feeling how you turn and you roll through the front of you, using all of you. Maybe your knees tilt a little bit to one side to help, and then to the other side. And then just pause in your belly and rest for a moment. Now you'll have your hands in this field goal position, or modify however you're doing. Your face is turned to the left. Notice where you rest on some portion of the right side of your face. Again, if this is not as simple for you, use some supports. You could roll up a hand towel, a little bit of a pillow. Where do you insert it? That it's just enough support. Not too much that it's interfering. And now slowly, very gently, go ahead and bring your legs close together. They're going to touch each other. You can imagine that you're tying a little ribbon around your ankles and around your knees, that they become one. And then this time, just gently, think maybe on an exhalation, you could depress into your lower belly, into the floor, and the left knee, you just want to lift the left knee and the left foot away from the floor towards the ceiling a little bit. And then let the left knee come back. So as the left knee lifts to move away from the floor, it actually will slide on the inside edge of the right leg because they're pretty much close together, sandwiched together. And then slide the left leg back. You might even create a little rhythm that as you lift that left knee, it doesn't have to be a lot. Make sure it's easy, but also pay attention to the shape of your spine. What's happening in your hips? The idea is that the front of your hip joint is opening, not folding. Just notice what it does. And then you could tap the knee down. Tap, tap, tap. Pum, 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 pum. Just to feel, playfully. Good. Now, glue those knees, those legs together again. They're not going to separate. And now slowly tilt your legs to the right. But you're going to do it in such a way that the left leg glued to the right is going to take a ride on the right leg. The left knee is not going to stay on the floor. It's actually glued to the right. It's going to be carried by the right leg, tilting to the right. It's going to take a ride. And feel how the front of you starts to move away from the floor as you're riding a little bit more over onto your right. And then on an inhalation, come back. Now let's make it even easier. Take your left hand and place it into a push-up position somewhere near you. And you know, if you're having difficulty with where your right arm is, you can, for the moment, elongate your right arm down long. Palm then rotates to be towards the ceiling. It's an option if you're noticing anything is disquieting in your right shoulder joint. Now, as you exhale, go back, tilting the knees to the right. And as you do it, depress into your left hand as if you wanted to look. Do you want to look under the left arm? Do you want to look over the left shoulder? Just a little bit. And then inhale and return. Roll back. If you feel that the left knee is still on the floor, if you feel that your knees are splicing apart, it's not what's being asked. Imagine that your left thigh, knee, foreleg, ankle, foot, inside edges of the foot are glued together, velcroed together, a popsicle, whatever image works for you, so that as you exhale and you begin to tilt the right knee, the left leg, the entire left side starts to move away from the floor. It doesn't ground and hang into the floor. It doesn't have to be a big movement. It could just be the very beginning. And then come back. Do this several times, resting in between. Imagine what this is. The shape of your spine, the front of you is going to get long. And then rest, leave it alone, and roll to your back. As you've come onto your back, notice your contact. Listen to your breathing. As you rest on your back, can you imagine, get a picture of what it was you just did? When you brought your left hand into a push-up position, was it your preference that you wanted to slide and look with your head underneath the frame that the left push-up hand makes? Or were you also exploring as if you wanted to look over the left shoulder? You don't have to see the legs, you're not going to. But feel what that does. So come back into the position, roll to your belly. Place your hands first in that field goal position. And then head is going to be facing the left. Bring your legs very close together. Glue them together. Bend the knees 90 degrees, feet towards the ceiling. And maybe this time bring both of your arms into a push-up position. Both of them. And slowly, as you exhale, go ahead and tilt your knees to the right. But the left leg, the entire left leg, the entire left side of you is going to come for a ride. The only part of the left side that's really working right now is going to be your left hand and maybe the lifting of your head to look. And compare when you want to look underneath the frame the left push-up hand makes, or you want to look at another exploration over the left shoulder. A little bit. Doesn't have to be a lot. Listen to the quality of how you return to the floor and how you begin another one. Maybe notice if you initiate the movement on an exhalation and you restore back to the floor on an inhalation, you might want to pause a beat or two before you begin again. And then very slowly, very gently, go ahead and keep your legs as they are, but place your arms back on the floor in that field goal position. and your head will be resting on the floor towards the left. Feel if something's changed there. And now once or twice, just go back to tilting the knees in this funny, constrained pattern where it's the right knee that is going to carry the entire left leg with it. And see if something changed from that first exploration. Is something shifting, becoming more malleable through your spine and your chest, between your shoulder blades? Maybe your head even rolls a little bit more towards your right cheek or right ear. And then leave that alone, roll to your back, and rest. It's important to take as much time as you need when you do these lessons, because it's not the doing, it's more how. We set the intention, we set the directions, and can you imagine them? I mean, that's the skill we're honing, and many of us, it's lacking. So we're developing the ability to imagine it. This is what great athletes do, great performers do. They see themselves there in it. And it's something you probably did a long time ago. How to bring it back. Slowly now, we're going to explore to the right. So little bits at a time. Organize your arms in that field goal position. Turn your head to the right so that you're resting on some portion of the left side of your face. Bring your legs very close together, glue them, bend the knees, and bring the lower legs in the vertical 90 degrees ballpark towards the ceiling. Slowly, once or twice, just to feel what it's like here, with this funny constraint of your hands resting on the floor. Go ahead and tilt the legs this way, constrained, so that the right leg is going to take a ride on the left leg. Exhale as you initiate. Inhale as you return. Now, we didn't do that first step we did on the other side, where we just had you lift the knee. Now it would be the right knee to lift it away, tap it back down to the floor. If you feel you need to do that variation on this side, you pause and you add that in. If it elucidated something in how the front of your hip and your spine needs to organize, then do so. If it's already happening, it integrated enough that you remembered how to make it easier. Keep playing, but now transition your right hand into a push-up position. Use that right hand in a push-up position, and every time you tilt your knees to the left, where the right leg is carried, it's a passenger. It leaves the floor and it is a passenger being carried by the left leg. Begin to allow your head to move in the direction of the frame that the right push-up hand is making. There were two variations. One was as if you wanted to look through the frame, underneath the frame, as if you wanted to see your knees tilting and maybe the right knee coming away from the floor. And do that, resting as often as you need. Maybe you do one movement and you rest. And then add in as you tilt the knees to the left. And again, I keep reminding, the right leg is passive, glued to the left. It's being carried. And begin to explore also as if you wanted to look over your right shoulder. Begin to alternate. Once you look under the frame of the right hand, as if you're looking towards the right knee that's glued and traveling passively with the left. And then you do it and you look over the right shoulder, as if there was something right beyond there you wanted to see. Play gently. It's not about the size, but feel that the right side of you is beginning to leave the floor, the front of the right side of you. Where it was resting, it's peeling away so that more of you is rolling towards the middle or the left side with this variation. And then you return and come back. Play with that a little longer. The play is because there's a curiosity. Just one more time, I want to feel that. And then go ahead and remove your hands from the push-up position and place them flat in that field goal position on the floor, framing your head. And do that same movement again without using the support of pushing into your right hand in the push-up, and see if something changed. Even one little teeny weeny amount of change for the better is huge. We build off of that little bits at a time. And then leave that all alone, roll to your back and rest. As you're resting on your back now, feel your contact, listen to your breathing, and maybe roll your head a little from one side gently to the other, listening for what's changing there. And is it just your head rolling? Just feel subtly how movement can thread and travel through you. It's not about doing something. It's about listening. What is naturally happening? Again, the image I've always given, for those of you who know me, of throwing a stone into the pond, there's a rippling effect. It doesn't have to be big waves crashing. It could be subtle, tiny little waves. Follow that wave of movement. And now slowly return to your belly. Bring both of your hands into a push-up position. Start with your face turned to the left. Bring your knees together. Glue them together. And now very slowly, very gently, both hands are in a push-up position. Once, as you exhale, begin to tilt the knees to the right, which means that the left knee is going to depart from the floor. The left knee, the entire left side of the leg, and follow the trail up. Which portion of the left side of you, how far up, is starting to move away from the floor? The left hand will activate and depress. And decide whether you want to look over your left shoulder or under your left arm, the frame of the push-up hand. And then as you come back, slowly as the feet come back to the ceiling and the left hand stops pushing, organize your head to come through the middle, turn it to the right, place it down on the floor, and then as you exhale, begin tilting the knees to the left. The right leg now and the right side of you will gently start to peel away from the floor. And then decide, as you now activate more with the right hand in the push-up position, whether your preference is to look underneath the gap of the right arm or to look over the right shoulder. You could do each one a couple of times, setting your intention. I want to compare what it feels like if I look underneath the left arm as I transition back to the left, tilting the knees to the right. And then when I come back through the middle and turn to the right, I'm going to do the same thing, comparing this to that, left to right. And then when you do it again, tilting the knees to the opposite side your head is, look maybe over the left shoulder. And then maybe as you reverse it, over the right shoulder. Comparing, discerning what's different. Might be easier one way for you than the other. Are both possible, even if you do just a little. And then rest. Leave that play alone for a while. Roll back onto your back and rest. Feel what's changing in your contact with the floor. Return to your belly. Remember that variation we did when we glued our legs together and then we lifted one knee away from the other, lifting it as if the foot wanted to go to the floor? We're going to play with that a little differently though. So this time, bring both hands into a push-up position. Turn your head to the left. Have your legs close together, glued, glue them. Bend your knees. Have the forelegs and feet ballpark in the vertical 90 degrees. And now slowly go back to that movement. As you exhale, depress into your left hand, tilting the knees to the right. The left leg will be a passenger in the beginning, being carried over to the right by the right leg. But as your knees start to go to the right, begin to splice your left leg away from the right so that it wants to go a little further towards the right. And then slowly come back, pause, do it again. So the idea is once the left leg is now carried, it's off of the floor and it's carried like a passenger on the right leg as the legs are tilting to the right. You're pushing into the left hand. Are you wanting to look over your right shoulder? Over your left shoulder, under the left arm? Either can work. Feel the differences though. That as you are doing this, you are actually, once the legs are tilting to the right, you are going to start to slide as if you are taking the left knee further down away from the right lower leg, as if it wanted to arc further to the right. And then you come back. Play with that several times. Feel the shape of your spine. And then slowly pause and rest in between. Maybe give up everything for a moment, resting on your belly. Reset yourself. Slowly turn your head to the right. Put your hands in a push-up position. Glue the legs, bend the knees. And play that amount with this bias. The knees are going to the left. The head is going to look. Is it going to look over the right shoulder or under the right arm? And once you feel, I have gotten the knees tilted to the left. Now the right leg separates from being glued. It's sliding further off to the left and maybe up a little bit. Just play with it. If you were a dancer, if you were an acrobat, if you were a gymnast, maybe you're none of those things. Maybe you never were. But you witnessed some of that stuff. You played with it. Play. Be childlike. Amuse yourself with this. And feel what it's like on this side. Remember, see what it's like if you're looking over the right shoulder. What happens if you look under the right frame of the arm, the right arm in a push-up position? And just play with it. And then begin to alternate. So if you were just doing it to the right, the knees tilted to the left, looking over your right shoulder or under the right arm. Then as you come back towards your belly and both thighs, knees touch the floor, you're in the neutral. You take your head through the middle, turn it to the left, have it stay on the floor to start, and then begin the movement. Begin the movement through an exhalation as you simultaneously press into the left push-up hand. You tilt the knees to the right. The left leg is taking a ride on the right leg. And then once it's departed from the floor, let the left knee, the left leg splice itself away from the right, further to the right, away from the right leg, and moving a little further to the right, and maybe a little further to the right and up. Just alternate from one side, going through the middle, to the other side. Back and forth. Back and forth. And then leave that alone, roll to your back and rest. Some of you might have noticed that some of the supports or pillows or towels or whatever it is that you are using, you don't need them, or you don't need as much, or you only need them some of the time. That's an improvement right there. But using them is not a problem. It's a good thing. You're listening to yourself where you need to support, so it's nicer, it's easier. Now this time, organize yourself so that your face is facing, it's lying on the floor and it's facing the left. Your hands are in a push-up position. Your legs are glued together, bend the knees, lower legs and feet are towards the ceiling in the vertical. Go back to that movement you were just playing, where as you, on an exhalation, you simultaneously maybe look over the left shoulder as you press into the left push-up hand, as you tilt the knees to the right and the left leg is taking a ride and then it splices away. How far can you allow it to splice and keep traveling that you could come to sit? And then you could spiral back into the position and onto your belly. Do it again. For some that are going, what? And you don't have right now a Zoom or a live class to witness your the other people in the room, just listen to the description again and continue to play. It doesn't have to be arrived at today. Slowly, as you simultaneously find your exhaling, just imagine the intention of lifting the head to look. It slides over to the left and then it lifts and it looks over the left shoulder as the left hand is pushing into the floor, as the knees are tilting to the right. As that happens and the left leg is lifted away from the floor, the left side is lifting away from the floor, splice that left leg away from the right, traveling further over to the right as if it could find the floor. And does that spiral you up to sit? And then spiral back onto your belly. Play that again several times, finding, can you keep the breath working for you? If you find a moment you strained, where did your eyes go? Can you open your mouth? Can you say, ah, as you're doing it? And then slowly reverse it. Turn your head to the right. Hands are in a push-up position. Slowly bring the legs together, tie them together, bend the knees. Begin to tilt the knees to the left. The right leg takes a ride. The right hand is pushing. The head starts to lift and look over the right shoulder. Splice that right leg away from the left, as if you could replicate coming to sit the way you did to the left. And then reverse it. Come back, spiral back onto your belly. And do it again. Find the path. Both arms at some point are going to help and work. Feel how you're transitioning in a plane of action from lying with your belly on the floor to shifting and transitioning, spiraling through this pattern to come up to sit. You would be sitting in a sort of side-sitting position and then spiral back onto your belly. Now guess what's coming next? Could you start to reverse it? Could you begin? Where is it easier for you to begin? Where was it the easiest? Turn your head to that place, whether it's right or left. The knees will tilt in the opposite direction. Both hands are in a push-up position. I'm going to speak as if your head is to the left. As you exhale, you tilt the knees to the right. The left hand pushes. Your head lifts. It looks over the left shoulder. The legs are splicing apart so that the left leg foot is going further to the right and up, or towards the head where it was, so to speak. You come to sit. Spiral back onto your belly. As you do that, turn your head through the middle to the right. Begin the pattern again. Now it's simultaneously, as you exhale, press into the right hand. The head starts to lift to look over the right shoulder as the legs are tilting to the left And then the right leg splices away from the left, going further to the left, and maybe I'm calling it upward and towards the floor. That spirals you up to sit. And once this pattern is getting familiar, could you begin to play with it, alternating through the middle, transition to do it to the left, which means you're spiraling up, and then come back onto your belly, turn your head to the right, transition, legs are now to the left, spiraling up via the right. And for you, if this pattern is becoming simpler and easier, for you, you can speed it up. Make sure that you're having fun. Your eyes are open. Open your mouth. Sing a song, whatever it is. The wheeze and whatever that a child would give. Playful. Or imagine it. And then leave it alone and lie on your back and rest. Feel your breathing. Feel your contact. And rest for a moment. For some, they need no more. But for some, this work of creating a more potent back, it's not so simple. Sometimes some of those extensor or erector muscles, we call them, are still a little bit too activated. So if you feel that that for you is a concern, gently, lying on your back, bring your feet to stand. Interlace your hands, place them behind the fullest portion of your skull, and draw your elbows together as if they want to point towards the ceiling. Bring your knees over your chest, comfortably just rest there. And then as you inhale, feel where you fill. As you exhale, without trying ever to touch, just begin to direct your elbows towards your knees and your knees towards your elbows. They are not to touch. And then separate. And again, what you're doing is asking those muscles that have shortened and they haven't quite figured out how to let go yet. You don't want to pull on them to stretch them. You want to gently encourage them to come back to their length, their neutral. You could also play with a little bit of rolling up and down, a rolling side to side. Feel for you if this is something that feels, ooh, I like that at the end of an extension lesson. And then leave that all alone and lie on your back and rest. Listen to your breathing. Listen to your contact with the floor. Roll your head a little from one side to the other. Is something freeing and getting easier in your neck? And very slowly, bring your feet to stand, roll by way of one side, and spiral up to stand. Feel when you come to stand your uprightness. Feel the connection from the ground, from your feet all the way up. Listen to the three spheres I speak of, the pelvic bowl, your rib basket, and your head. And it's our spine that connects the three. Listen to that alignment. Have a walk, have a great day, and hope we're together again soon.